Welcome to Film Bites, the podcast where a lad and his dad talk about films they've just watched.
What?
I don't know what I'm doing. I really don't.
What the hell is that?
Welcome back, Film Biters. I'm Andy, the dad.
And I'm Jack the lad.
And this time we're looking at a indie picture called Mercy Falls. Now, I think this is quite a good little old-fashioned horror movie, a survival horror movie in some sense.
Almost feels like a slasher as well.
Yeah, I mean, it has that kind of feel from those sort of late 70s slasher movies.
I definitely got some Friday the 13th vibes, and I think that works both ways, it's good and bad.
Yeah, I mean, Mercy Falls then. So it starts off and we've got a usual bunch of mates going up for a bit of a camping trip to try and find a cabin in the woods.
Yes.
That's been left to one of them in a will. And then we get a little bit of a hitchhiker story, and from there develops the main premise of the film. It has the feels of some of those really good indie pictures that we've seen recently, a bit like The Descent or The Hike or The Ritual. And what I did like about this film, it's shot absolutely beautifully.
The cinematography, I think, is probably one of the strongest parts of this entire movie. There is a lot of symbolism in what is shown on screen with the settings as well, even down to the kind of layouts that they choose, particular settings where they set themselves up for something to occur. There is a lot of emphasis of meaning in there as well. And I appreciated the cinematography. I loved the setting, and there were some really nice drone and aerial shots.
Yes.
That just stood out and just showed you how big the Mercy Falls area is. I think that was the strongest points.
Yeah.
I think in terms of general characters, I wasn't massively feeling for them.
Okay.
That's just me personally. I think, and this could just be me with classic slashers, I've never really gotten on with the classic slasher genre apart from Halloween. I really like Halloween.
Love Halloween.
There's a lot of elements to that that's just great. I think other elements with slashers as well. There's Texas Chainsaw. I mean, that started a big wave as well. And from what you see in that, it's a decent design. It's based on Ed Gein.
Yeah.
And it's well done. It captures that kind of ambience and atmosphere of terror. Friday the 13th is where I think it was dropping, and I think that was just where it was a bit more leaned towards. It was more Friday the 13th than it was the other slashers, which can work and which cannot, I think. I think some decisions from the characters were a bit weak and odd, but then if you're trying to inspire it from the classic slasher genre, which it feels like it did, that's exactly what they do in those movies as well.
I mean, you had all the riffs from the classic movies that you're referring to. You had Don't Have Sex in a Horror Film, Don't Go Out in the Woods at Night. You had some very, very sort of easy watch type stuff. But I don't think that's necessarily to his detriment.
No, I'm not saying it's to his detriment. I just think that some elements were done better than others.
I thought the acting was fair. I thought the sound was very good in places. The setting was really nice. The woods providing the perfect backdrop for a lot of the hiking parts of the film. Nice bits of golden hour photography here and there. And all the way to this kind of final girl end scenes. I was quite interested in the movie all the way through. There are some leaps of the willing suspension of disbelief that you have to use in certain places, but so be it. I don't think it was at all a bad film. I thought it was a good film.
Oh, it was certainly good. I think there was a good scare that got us briefly. It made us jump.
Yeah, one of the few recently as well.
Yeah, which that doesn't usually happen. I also have to say there was another element that I think we did like. I think one of the kills might have been really good, if I remember correctly. Yeah, I think it was overall a good watch.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I loved it, but I certainly really did enjoy it.
Yeah.
I think the general setting is probably the best part with the cinematography. Actors, as you say, fair, works, pushes the story forward. Is very much like a classic slasher flick.
There was one irk that I did have with it, and I think it probably would have benefited from the antagonist not showing the backstory.
They tried to make the character two-dimensional.
Yeah.
And not two-dimensional, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's dimensions to the character. But the thing is that it doesn't really go anywhere and it doesn't really pay off with anything.
But I think even if they'd actually just cut it away...
Yeah, it probably would have made it more of a one-dimensional character, but that actually would have probably done it to its benefit.
Yeah, much more interesting because you don't know then the reason behind what she's doing.
Yeah.
And you don't necessarily understand why she's being impelled to do what she's doing. And I think that ambiguity would have probably made it a bit more engaging on her and more of a threat.
Oh, yeah.
Because you don't know what's
especially
behind
the decisions that she makes. It's very odd. And at certain points, she seems deranged.
And the actress, Nicolette McKeown, I think she did a good job in that. She is sinister.
Oh, yeah, certainly. There's some sequences that plays out where she has these certain expressions that genuinely feel believable despite what's happening on the screen as well.
Yeah. So, from my humble opinion, I personally do like this film. It's definitely one to watch. It is fun. It's old-fashioned in many ways, but certainly diverting for the night. How about you?
I think it's a bit of fun. It feels like a translation from old slasher horror to a bit of a more modern one, but with those elements still attached. Just a bit of fun. The cinematography's great. Score is all right as well. I quite enjoyed that. Everything felt nicely wrapped up, I think, as well.
Yeah.
I won't say anything about the ending, but it was very much all right.
It was a bit, to be fair. And again, I quite liked it.
Yeah. Again, it just kind of puts you at that point where you go, okay, fair enough. That was well played.
Yeah. So, Mercy Falls, give it a watch.
If you've enjoyed our podcast, please consider liking and subscribing for future episodes. Smash the like notification bell if you're on YouTube. Your support means the world to us. Please help us spread the word to grow the podcast. Until we meet again, film biters, we'll be watching. Will you?